This is the bonus section podcast episode number 27. If you won't, who will? Are you the type of person that knows you were meant for something greater in this lifetime and that somewhere inside of you there's a bigger version of yourself just trying to break through? But in spite of all the self-development attempts that you make, you just can't seem to find the way up? Well then, hey, you might be in the right place. I'm Danny Griffin, the founder of the bonus section and the host of this podcast, and a person just like you trying to learn how to live the most fulfilling life possible. Now, to help you take immediate action to get moving in a better direction, we take all the notes from each episode and we post them for a brief time over at freethinkingtools.com. That's freethinkingtools.com. Get over there. You can download a copy, go to a quiet spot, and start working on your plan for a better life. All right. If you won't, who will? I'm passionate about this right now because there is a lot of divisiveness in the world. All the social media platforms, the charged political environment around the world for that matter, it's just beginning to really wear away at a lot of us. And when we look at it, and it's not necessarily a capitalist thing, a communist thing, or whatever thing, it's just human nature that for some reason we're more drawn to the car crash of life, where we negative and divisiveness draws us in. And it makes me think about leadership. Who is going to emerge to lead us out of that? And I don't mean one person is going to come along and they're going to be, the great savior of the day. I mean just everywhere and anywhere, inside of political movements, religious movements, nationalistic movements, whatever it might be. There's always, I guess it's, put it this way, find some divisiveness over a subject and there's an opportunity for leadership. How about that? That's really what has me charged up here, is that all of this divisiveness is actually a chance for leadership. So let me get to these points here, right? Everybody's motivated to lead change in the heat of the moment. So think about what's going on in the world right now, if you're listening to this in a timely fashion right when it's recorded. Social injustice is a massive topic, massive. And just so many of us have had enough. We've had enough of social injustice. We know it's wrong, but it's really beginning to bubble up to the surface again in a big way. And it's stimulated even more divisiveness, more violence. But come on, what? We need real, effective change. We can't let people continue to come into a real issue, hijack it, and then we all shrink back. See, in the heat of the moment, really intelligent voices prop up and they get a platform and people can really articulate what's wrong here. And we get excited for that. And we say to ourselves, well, finally, I'm part of that silent majority. And finally, somebody's starting to articulate something in the right way. And it's not polarizing. It's just intelligent. It's logical. And that leadership is there. And you hear more voices like that. But then all of a sudden, when the incidents or the environment cool down, I don't seem to hear that as much anymore. We seem to be consumed with the next loud noise, the next divisive issue. And where there was once this fleeting moment where there was hope for real change, it's gone, just like that. And we shrink back to a comfort level where even though these things still exist, we accept them. We just do. We just accept them. We just go right back. Maybe not completely back. Maybe we made a little step forward, but there was a moment in time where we stretched and you could feel the elastic band ready to break. And all of these chains that bind us in this old way of thinking, we were close, but we didn't quite break through. Because we had all these people that were willing to be a voice and lead in that moment, but now where are they as things cool down? Everybody falls back to what's comfortable. Well, there's just not the support of the crowd. See, why do we need the support of the crowd? Why? So the second point here is a challenge to all of us. And hopefully I'm exemplifying that. Because things have cooled down a little bit, not terribly a lot, but a little bit. And this is bothering me. It's bothering me when I advise my own kids. The question on the table for them is, who will be bold enough when the crowd goes away? So one of my kids was very moved by all this and goes to a school, or he can think about the times in the lunchroom where he witnesses the segregation of groups, not just by color, race, religion, everything, belief systems, what they're interested in. And everybody's segregated at these tables at this lunch, and you don't get to know anyone. Where is the eclectic mix of people? Where's the learning about others? We keep getting more divisive and segregated because of the world we live in, because we're afraid until there's an issue that brings us together, and then there's a moment of hope and it shrinks back. I won't let him get off the hook like that because he was moved by it. And so he went and we talked about some ideas where you could affect a positive change over a long period of time. And I keep pestering, don't let it go away. You don't need the crowd. Don't let it go away. You had some really powerful ideas. And when you look back at your life many, many years later, you'll ask yourself, what did I really do to leave a positive footprint in this world? It's not about ascending a corporate ladder. It's not about making a lot of money. It is about, what did I do to affect the lives of others around me? Was I a man of service? Was I a man for others? Key, passionate conversation for me. And everybody should keep that in mind. Am I of service to the world that I live in? Because I can be, and I don't need the crowd. So the next point here, well, how? Right? You get it. So you're thinking to yourself, that's great. Okay, he's right. Here we are, and we were when everybody is at a crescendo, I can hide a little bit, and I can be a voice, and I can shrink back down, be a voice, and shrink back down. But now imagine yourself in a lonely room. Do you believe, really, in what you said? Does it really bother you that certain things happen that way? Because if you do, my next message for you is, well, good. Then understand how change works at a very fundamental level. See, change starts by questioning the simple logic of a situation. Is it logical that certain things are happening the way they are? And if the answer is no, something seems illogical, something seems wrong, then question the next level beneath it. Why? Why is something continuing to happen historically, generationally? Why does it continue to happen? What are the underlying fundamentals that cause it? Because there is the opportunity for change. To question that, not to divide everybody at the top level, the one we can see, when you can see the injustice, when you can see the problem, and then to get into this whole idea of divisiveness. And believe me, there are many people that want to hijack you as a true potential effector of change, an agent of change, a change agent. They want to affect you. They want to make so much noise because they thrive and they live off of divisiveness. And so they go opportunity hopping to even quiet down, and they might not even be it intentionally, but they're just opportunists for themselves to divide. Whereas you saw something, you understood something intellectually, logically. Something's wrong here. Something's wrong. Is it a matter of the system that's beneath it? And if so, what's wrong there? Is it a training issue? Is there an underlying anxiety? How do we affect positive change at that level? And that's where you should come up with your ideas. And that's where you should promote your ideas. And that's where you should continue to push. And if nobody will listen, then make some noise. Make some dang noise yourself. Start your own crowd. The greatest part of the platforms that we have, just like the one I'm on here today, is make some noise. Maybe one person hears you, maybe two, but just keep going, because what's important to you is what's important to you. And you will slowly but steadily, if you stick with it, because remember, if you really want to be this person of service and be a change agent and leave a positive footprint, at least if it was just your own community, at least if it was even your own family, how do you know that you don't have a child that might affect the entire world someday simply because you planted a seed? We don't know, but you got to go for it. By questioning that logic, talking about solutions, getting the dialogue going. And it doesn't have to always be as charged as I am on this podcast. It can be quiet. You might be a quiet, simple leader. You might propose something that all of a sudden somebody else sees that plan and they might become the spokesperson for it. But question the logic beneath the problem. Expose it for being illogical, but have a solution. Don't just make noise that goes nowhere. That's not a good, effective change agent. Have the beginnings of a plan. Not a perfect plan, but an idea how to make things better. And the last part of this, as a change agent, is that change needs to empower people, not divide them. Real change empowers other people. Think about it. Think about all the nefarious leaders in history. They weren't empowering anybody. I mean, they might have taken advantage of that moment where the crowd had a true reason to rise up. Somebody didn't want to be oppressed. And that nefarious leader comes along and gets them all fired up. And the next thing you know, it's against somebody else. It's to divide them against somebody else. It's not to empower them to become a great industrial power again, to become a great intellectual power again. Why not, though? Why can't something be an empowering movement that empowers people? You know you're going to be attacked by the naysayers, the trolls online, whatever you want to call everybody that does that. But again, we've just said that's just a normal part of process. And what good is any wonderful change that empowers people that doesn't come under attack and assault so that it can be refined, it can be strengthened? It is the old proverbial iron in the fire. Change doesn't need to be easy. Nobody said that. And in fact, most change that really comes the hard way. And then it's really good because it empowers people. You see, the silent majority, in my not so humble opinion in this moment, is that we want to feel empowered. We want to feel loved. We really don't want to be divisive. We don't really want to wake up. Don't tell me that you feel divisive against somebody politically, in a religious context, in a neighborhood context, in a school context, and you wake up feeling good that you said all these negative things about somebody else. Don't tell me that. I don't believe it. I don't buy it. I think it's a formula for depression and repression. So if you want to be a real agent of change, you start with yourself by becoming a person who's willing to empower people, to challenge their logic, to make them think. The whole point of the bonus section is to make you think. I want you to empower your own ideas, your own thoughts, so that you can affect positive change, even if it's in your tiny little corner of your tiny little world that you think. See, I don't think that's tiny. I think you matter. I think your world is a big deal. Even if you're sitting alone somewhere behind a computer and you're not really social, you matter. Your ideas matter. And there are so many ways to get them out there, and there will be people that are moved by it. But please seek to empower others with your ideas, not divide them. That's when you will be magnetically attracting the right types of people who can then jump on your bandwagon to affect that change. Again, even if it's in a small way. We have to start there. All right, let me go back and talk about these points here. I'm passionate about this. You got to be people for others. It's just the right thing, and it feels good. That's what this whole podcast was started for and is about. So the question on the table is, if you won't, then who will? Stop waiting for somebody else. Nobody's coming for us. So the first point is everybody's motivated to lead change in the heat of the moment. But the second point is, who will be bold enough to lead when the crowd goes away? I want it to be you. And you never needed a crowd to begin with, by the way. The third point is, so that change logically or intellectually starts by questioning the logic. Why? Why? What is the logic behind this thing that's going wrong? And what are the underlying levels that cause that illogical behavior? Start there. But then remember that your ideas will become most powerful when that change empowers other people, not divide them to rally around an idea. We don't need to be divisive. We need to get a good idea and hammer it and ignore everybody who's trying to divide you. They're coming. They want to hijack everything you're doing. They want to scare you back by accident sometimes. Some of them just want to hijack an idea, take off with it, cause a lot of harm and go away. They don't even really, not even really trying to stop you. from proliferating your good idea. They're just noisemakers. All right, let me summarize it this way. In the heat of the moment and with the support of the crowd, there are plenty of us that will step up and push for change. But when the crowd goes away, a real leader finds a simple flaw that can be challenged and made better through the positive empowerment of others. All right, remember, you can take immediate action to get moving in a better direction for your life because we take all the notes from each episode, he said, and we post them at freethinkingtools.com. Also, don't forget you can subscribe to this podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you listen so that you don't miss out on any insights each time we upload an episode. We also post all of our episodes on our social media channels and our blog over at, you know where? thebonussection.com. So remember, turn on your notifications also on social for the bonus section. You won't miss any of the reminders over there as well. We also appreciate it if you would share our content with other people just like you so that they get the help that they need and join our mission of becoming people for others. And please comment. Let me know your thoughts. What are your thoughts? Because I might be somebody that would love to accelerate it. Tell me what you're thinking, but make it positive. Hey, thanks for listening. But remember, I just said it earlier too. Nobody's coming for you. So go get to work on yourself, and I will see you in the next episode. Thanks for listening.